Like this tree is, traditionally ugly. Like it's got this big thick branch coming out the side here. Bad. Then this big nasty severe chop in a 90-degree angle going straight up. Bad, bad. Ugly, horrible, nasty, acute, jagged. What are some other adjectives I can think of? Hi everybody, welcome to the Ditch. This is episode 1 of the Ditch Bonsai. It's about 100% humidity today. Feels like about 25 degrees Celsius. I'm sweating, it's raining, it feels hot, but I think the trees love it. This is like the ideal conditions for them, I think, especially after a lot of sunshine. Welcome to the first episode of this series, and the topic for this first episode is inspiration. And I'm starting here very purposefully because we have this huge cedar tree. I mean, it's so big it's hard to get it in frame. And so today I wanted to talk about the things that get us excited to do bonsai. Why are we doing it? What are we trying to achieve? In your mind, what is the perfect bonsai that you can create? I mean, look at the size of this tree. So I'm going to take you along. I'm going to show you some of the trees that inspire me, the ones that make me feel really excited about doing bonsai. And then maybe I'll show you some of my trees. Who knows? Maybe that's a little too personal. Maybe you can find that on my OnlyFans. You see there was the trunk of a tree here, like a massive trunk, probably, another 200, 300-year-old tree that died maybe, 50, 100 years ago. And then, life just continues on. Another tree comes and starts growing on top of it, sending roots through its decaying corpse. There's really nothing special about this one, except for just the line of the trunk. But over here we have this really interesting kind of mess of a tree. Yeah, it's some kind of apple tree. But whoever planted it, it looks like they had some issues, or I don't know, maybe they did it on purpose, but you can see the trunk line starts there, and then it goes at like a 30-degree angle, and then arcs back down. Almost like a raft, right? Like the equivalent of a raft in bonsai. Just look at the way that the roots play with the soil and the way the moss comes up onto the trunk. And then just the chaos of limbs. You've basically made a huge mistake and you're never going to be up on the pedestal with us, real bonsai people who know that the only good bonsai are grown in 80%. Oh, I'm just caught in a thorn bush here. Ow! Send help. These blackberry bushes are freaking brutal. Just really don't want it to rip this beautiful football jacket. There it goes. Anyway, what was I saying? And that if there's any organic material in there, you might as well just throw your bonsai in the garbage, because it's never going to be right. Yeah, that's not my philosophy. Something about that little branch there I really like. I look at it every time I walk by. I love this low branch, right? Kind of like this sacrifice branch that probably nobody is using as a sacrifice branch, but we might classify it as that. And then look at that snail. Have you ever worn water shoes to a rocky beach and you try swimming in them and then they fill up with water? And then you're walking like on the concrete or something and it just feels like your feet are in water balloons. That's how my feet feel right now. There's another one of these trees over here that has maybe fallen over the years, or maybe at some point somebody assumed it was dead and the tree just said, nope, I'm not dead yet. My branches are going to turn into roots, the ones that touch the ground at least. My original trunk is going to rot and die. And now I'm a sideways tree. That's fine. But there's also these, obviously here you can see some signs of pruning, right? Somebody made a nice flat cut there and you get some ramification coming out. Another one here, you can see a cut and it's healing over. Another one here. Creating this kind of chaos in a bonsai pot, this like ordered chaos, would be really cool. A lot of YouTubers will talk about like old bonsai techniques and how like old bonsai books from the 1970s had different traits that they looked at and what was valuable then. And Peter Chan talks about how certain species were more sought after in the 70s or the 80s. Anyway, I was wondering, what are going to be the new styles, 2020s, 2030s, 2040s, 50s bonsai? What's going to be beautiful? And I wonder if kind of grotesque, terrible, gnarly, half-rotten, broken, dying trees, what if that became in vogue? Like this tree is, traditionally ugly. Like, it's got kind of a nice base. Right, I mean, it's got a pretty nice trunk, but then it turns into a pole, right? Bad. It's got this big thick branch coming out the side here. Bad. And actually inverse taper. Bad. And then this big, nasty, severe chop and a 90-degree angle going straight up. Bad, bad. But I think it looks kind of cool. Moss is growing on all the ramified branches at these like nasty contorted angles. There's lichen. I mean, some of the branches are so filled with sphagnum moss that there's more moss than branch. And then look at the apples or the pears. I'm not sure what these are. Maybe pears. They're fine. Right? Still making pears. So part of me is kind of toying with the idea of bringing ugly back into style. Ugly, horrible, nasty, twisting, dying, rotting, moldy, acute, jagged. What are some other adjectives I can think of? Angular, that's the word. Maybe I want to grow angular trees. And this whole time I've been meaning to talk more about Milton Cheng. Milton Cheng kind of does this like ugly, nasty bonsai style where he breaks branches, he bends branches. Sometimes instead of sawing a branch to make a deep chop, he'll break it and then just rip it off and let the bark tear and make a nice scar, almost down to the base of the tree. And I think that's really cool. Again, I wouldn't comment on Milton Cheng's bonsai. unless I thought he made incredible art. Peter Chan, he also has that pickaxe maple that he was, hacking with an axe and ripping apart to make two trees or something like that. I think bonsai forces us to think about identity. Because you have one tree, you might name that tree, and, oh, look at this guy. When you take the cutting and put it in soil, who's to say your original tree didn't die and its new life has started with your cutting? The other night I was thinking about the timescales of trees and how maybe one night and day cycle for a tree is like one inhale and exhale for us humans. Wow, look at that thing. Gorgeous. Uh-oh, look at this, guys. A tree grown in tires. I gotta put that in a flat pot, shallow pot, work on the nabari. Tisk tisk. You're banned from the subreddit. Well, I think I've talked enough about inspiration. We can take a look at some of my trees.